Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another segment of Club Rats. My name is John.
I'm Jesiah.
Billy.
Fernando.
First, I wanted to start off. We got Fern back. He wasn't here for the Super Bowl show post game. We wanted to get your take, Fern. What did you think of the Super Bowl, and how do you feel
Oh
about it?
man, dude, I've been hearing it was a boring game. It wasn't
It
like the
was.
Super Bowl I was hyped up for it to be, but dude, I loved it right from kickoff, man. It was a great Super Bowl, one of the best I've seen in a while. It was great to see the Chiefs just get their annihilated, just like I predicted. I think I was on the show saying Eagles would win by 10 or more, and the game was pretty much over at the half. I mean, I
Yeah,
mentioned Cooper DeJean a few times
Pick
throughout the show.
six.
He had a great pick
you,
six.
you did mention him.
Great game. Great. I had the Eagles big money line, had the over, both cashed. It was just a great day, dude. It was a day to celebrate and rejoice. And now this is why we love football. We just to see the teams we hate get annihilated.
You said that from the kickoff that it was already going your way. What do you think about that call to start the game, the offensive pass interference?
I didn't expect anything less, dude. I was like, the Chiefs get every call. That's exactly what I was thinking. The same as the rest of America.
So
I
it
was
wasn't
pissed.
going their way in the beginning.
It wasn't.
I'm sure you were nervous.
I wouldn't say I was nervous, but I was just like, this is exactly what I expect to happen.
Do you still feel like the NFL's rigged?
I don't want to say that it's rigged, but they do favor teams. They kind of play like a little bit of a narrative. You know what I mean? Now, I will say the next possession, we got a free first down. Well, I don't want to say we. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a Chiefs hater.
Yeah.
They got after that AJ Brown BS pass interference. The Chiefs got it was like 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12. Then they got that BS late hit on the Goddard or unnecessary roughness, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it kind of canceled out. The Eagles ended up scoring on that drive. But I mean, besides that, dude, the game wasn't even close. We just killed them. The D line killed them. The three defensive players from Georgia, the two D linemen in the corner, they were on lock the whole game. Sweat did his thing. DeJean did his thing. The whole defense did their thing. I don't really want to say it was the Eagles' offense that won him. I give Hurts credit. His aerial assault was on point.
Okay.
He didn't make any mistakes.
A lot of that
I'll give him that.
Yeah, and the one mistake he made, he pinned him inside the 5. You know
It was
what I
basically
mean?
a
It's
punt.
like, yeah. They did feed Barkley a lot. People want to say Barkley didn't do anything. Barkley didn't do anything. But with the Chiefs have to account for his run game. That's what opened up the whole pass game.
100%.
People say Barkley had a bad game. Well, dude, no, he didn't. He did what he had to do. Without Barkley,
He sets everything up still.
Yeah, exactly.
They gave it to him 25 times.
With that play action,
yeah.
that with
100%,
yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. And when you take into his rushing receiving into account, he had almost 100 yards. So
Yeah.
he had, I think, 7 receptions in total, and his line was
Exactly.
only at 1.5. So that was a good bet.
Exactly.
Speaking of some of your bets, which you said you took, where are some other bets that you hit, or
I hit,
if you know some you didn't hit?
Yeah, I lost the Saquon anytime touchdown. I mean, I'm sure most people had that.
Yeah.
I did have Kelsey anytime touchdown because in the recent Super Bowl history, he's been scoring almost every Super Bowl. I think besides the one against Tom Brady. Coincidentally, Tom Brady was narrating the game. So
Yeah.
both
I'm
times
sure
where
he
he
was
was there,
happy.
Mahomes lost. So you need to keep him there. You need to keep him.
For sure.
What else did I hit? I hit Xavier Worthy over total.
You hit the coin toss.
No, I didn't bet. I didn't end up betting it. That was a good thing because I wanted to bet
bet.
heads, and it ended up being tails. So
That's
next
funny.
year I'll hammer heads. Next year I'll hammer. I can't remember, dude. I hit a couple other ones. I think Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown.
Nice.
I can't remember. I can't remember all of them.
But it was very
I bet a lot.
money making day, a big money
Yeah, it
making
was
day
a
for
good
you.
day.
Huh?
It was a great day to celebrate. I was pretty much celebrating at halftime, basically.
Oh, okay.
It was a
Yeah,
good
I mean that's
time.
why you weren't here. You're too busy
Yeah,
partying,
having a
drinking.
great time.
I'm trying to text him before the show, and he's not even responding. He's like, "I'm on cloud 9. I'm lit. I'm lit."
I knew
So
the Eagles
we
would
were
kill
very
them.
happy.
Oh yeah.
But awesome. So to jump into our topic, we want to discuss college hoops essentially. So let's start with you, Fernando. Where are some teams that you think can make noise in March Madness?
Now I will say, guys, preseason, before the season even started, I picked up in college football. I picked Ohio State on the same ticket. I had Duke to win the national championship. Now I don't want to steer away from picking Duke. I think they do have a very good chance to win. I think they can win the whole thing.
I think they're the second favorite.
They could
Right
be,
now.
yeah, they could be the
They're
second
minus
favorite.
110.
Yeah, before I bet, I think they were like plus 900 when I bet them before the season started. And I'm big on Cooper Flag. I think they have a good roster. They have that guy who transferred from Purdue. He doesn't play much, but that's how good their team is.
Mm-hmm.
I think this has been a really good college basketball season. I don't think there's one per se dominant team, although records can indicate
Auburn.
that teams have
You
been
got to give Auburn.
dominating.
They're the number one.
Broom, or what's his name? Brom, whatever.
Yeah.
He's a beast, dude. I really like Auburn. I picked them to be.
You got to
in
like the
Final
Auburn
Four
coach,
last
right?
year. Yeah, Bruce Pearl. I
Yeah.
like him. I think he's a good coach.
Bloops.
He's a good coach. He made a Final Four.
He did.
You know? Yeah, he also got bounced out by Yale in the first round.
So just
last year.
looking at the SEC, you know, who would you take from that? Because that's the best conference. They're projected to have 14 teams right now.
Mhm.
So they're almost going to have a fourth or fifth of the whole tournament,
Yeah,
damn near.
It's
Then if
crazy.
you mix in the Big Ten, they're expected to get 8 to 10. So they're basically going to have a third of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Who do you like? Who your top 3-4 teams from the SEC? I mean, the obvious.
Yeah, the obvious one, obviously Auburn is number one. Bama should make it. But my favorite team, my personal favorite team, is Florida. I think Florida can win the whole thing. I'm actually going to bet Florida.
I like Florida
I
too.
bet them money line in Auburn, and they just blew out Auburn.
I mean,
think-
that's a huge win.
Yeah,
huge.
I think Florida's complete team, top to bottom. I think they're the best team. They can shoot. They can beat you inside. Their bigs can even shoot. They play good defense. They hustle. I think they got it all. I'm a big fan of Florida this year. I think Florida, in my opinion, is the best team in the SEC.
Who's your actual team, though, in case you haven't said on the podcast?
I'm a diehard. That's my favorite team in any sport, any single Gonzaga. It's either the Zags or Raiders. I'm a diehard Zag fan. My grandpa went there. My dad was born in Spokane. I got a bunch of family members that went to Gonzaga. I was a kid, and I would be like, I'm a Gonzaga fan with Adam Morrison. People would be like, who's that? Like, no one knew that.
Adam Morrison.
Who's your
Yeah.
favorite Zag player of all time?
I can't
Olenek.
say. It could be Olenek, dude.
Timmy!
Olenek was the number one. First time the Zags were ever number
Timmy
one.
was amazing.
Timmy was
But
good.
yeah, no,
Timmy's
honestly,
amazing.
if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Timmy, dude. Timmy did a lot for us. I didn't.
There's a lot of Zag players in the NBA.
I like Zach Collins. He's from Vegas. I'm from Vegas, and we're kind of like in the same grade. Shout out Zach Collins.
Collins.
Yeah,
There you go.
I got a Collins jersey actually, but there's just so many great Zags. But I would say like Timmy Collins. I really liked Sabonis when he was there. I would say those are like my Olenek. I can't leave Olenek out.
Yeah.
Those like Pangos. Shout out Kevin.
Could they actually
Pangos.
make noise
Oh hell yeah!
this year?
I don't remember. I can't remember the exact number, but we made something like 12 straight Sweet 16s or something like that. They do pre-bubble. Obviously, right now we're a month away from March Madness. They have us as an 8 seed. That would put us up against Utah State, which I think we'll handle, and then we would play Auburn,
Oof.
according to some bubbles.
That's tough.
But if I'm Auburn, I wouldn't want to see Gonzaga.
You wouldn't wanna
Now,
see
granted,
Gonzaga.
I do think Auburn is better than us this
Yeah.
year. But
That's still a tough
We
game,
could
though.
beat them.
Yeah.
Like if you get the
Anything
Zags,
happen in a tournament game.
that Mark Few has experience.
It's one
Long
game.
time from now, but diehard Zag fan. They're going to be in Vegas here in a couple weeks. I'll be at the games. But yeah, no. Back to the whole question. SEC, I do like Florida more than anyone.
Florida.
Although I do think the SEC's stacked.
Who do you like, Bill? Who do you like in the tournament?
I
this
mean,
year?
it's all St. John's. I mean, doubting Rick Pitino, you're just going to end up. He's a vampire, man. He does not die. He does not go away. And I'm sure most of you guys have seen the clips from the documentary. They've been
It's phenomenal.
following his team, his passion, I mean, this dude is just a grade A coach, and you get him with good guard play in the tournament, he's going to be unstoppable. They're 23-4 right now. I don't see anybody beating them.
He has a way to get
I
to
don't-
these players without being a dictator. Clips we've seen
Oh,
with the
he's-
show.
He gets the best out
he's
of them.
pretty.
Yeah,
I
got
would
some
say
players
that-
are scared of him.
He's
I
got
would
good
say
athletes.
he's a dictator.
You think so?
If you
I
I've watched
feel like-
most episodes of the show. I mean,
I feel like he
he's
does
running
a great
that
job
team.
of getting through to them, though, without being just a complete.
Well, there's some players
Asshole.
that want to be coached,
Yeah.
and those ones he'll get to. But like Tracy McGrady refused to work out for the Celtics because he didn't want to risk playing for Rick Pitino.
And like Rick Pitino, I mean, he's a guy. He's a coach that will change your shot, which if you're a basketball player is like death.
Yeah.
But then he'll say, "Well, I changed Donovan Mitchell's shot," and you're like, "Well, okay, I have to listen to
It
him."
works.
Donovan Mitchell's one of the best players in the NBA, so you can't. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's definitely a dictator. I would say,
Yeah.
You-
Okay.
yeah.
If you're on a recruiting
is.
trip, you want to go to Patino's school. That's for sure.
If you want to win and
If you're
work
on a
your game.
recruiting trip,
I don't think he's been there long enough. If you watch the show, he's complaining about the size of St. John's. Everything is small and compacted. They don't have the weight room. They don't have the facilities. He's only been there 2 years. It takes a little bit of time to win a national championship. Although I wouldn't count him out. If he's in the tournament, which he's most likely going to be in, it's almost a lock.
100%.
They're going to be a tough out. I don't think they'll win it, but I definitely think they'll go on a run.
Yeah, it seems like a Sweet 16 Final Four team.
Absolutely, they'll make it past the first weekend. I would bet.
I think so too.
If you want to give your picks,
so I'm obviously a Michigan fan.
Yeah.
I think I actually kind of put them. I kind of put them in the same category as St. John's. Dusty May's done a total rebuild here at Michigan. He put a team,
coach.
He
right?
put a team together in about 2 months. They lost today, but they're still. I mean, the fact that they've won 20 games when they won 8 last year. No Michigan fan can be upset with them. They're for sure going to make the tournament. And they have some guys where they could go on a run. They have 2 7-footers. They do pick and rolls with those 2 guys.
Who are the guys that you like on the team? Let's highlight
Danny
that.
Wolf. I mean, he's kind of like a poor version of Jokic. I mean, obviously he's not that. He's a college version of it, but he can score at each level. He can shoot threes. He can hit mid-range step backs. He can finish at the rim. He blocks shots. He rebounds.
He's actually able to.
He can handle.
He's able to put the ball on the floor, which is huge.
He's a legitimate NBA. Is he going to be a lottery pick? Probably not. But if he goes in the first round, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah.
I don't think Michigan again will win the national championship, but I kind of put him in the St. John's category. They have a coach who's made a Final Four. You may not want to see them, in that next round. If they got matched up against a team like Duke, it wouldn't shock me if guys like Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf, veterans, beat up on a flag. In one game. I could see them beating them. It wouldn't totally shock me at all. The teams I like, I'll kind of go through it. The SEC, from an athletic standpoint and a talent standpoint, has the best players and the best teams. I don't like their coaches. Bruce Pearl, we all like him. He's a fun guy. He'd be great on the show. He lost in the first round to Yale last year to Danny Wolf. He's a guy you can't trust him at all. He's a fun guy to play for.
Can't give him the car keys.
But he could lose in the first round. I mean, he's that type of guy. He's not Rick Pitino. So I wouldn't put him on that level. I think the Oates guy at Alabama is horrendous as a coach.
Yeah. He's made a Final Four too, though.
But he's not winning it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think I do agree with you. I do think Florida. I'm not sure about their head coach, where he's from exactly, but I do know he's either from Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan played point guard for Rick Pitino at Providence and made the Final Four. So he's basically a version of Billy Donovan, Rick Pitino. Florida's in good hands there.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did go on the road and beat Auburn, that's impressive. So I like them.
Wasn't even close.
Yeah. There's other teams. Missouri's really good.
Yeah,
they're underrated in the SEC.
They just beat Mississippi State. I know just beat A&M.
Missouri just beat Alabama.
Yeah, they beat Alabama,
Yeah.
and then
Missouri's
Mississippi State beat Texas A&M.
Even a team, Arkansas. If they make the tournament, they'll be lucky to make it.
They're dangerous,
but they still have John Calipari. You can't count them out. The SEC.
They almost beat Auburn yesterday.
They did. The SEC does have the top to bottom best talent. The second best conference, I would say. The ESPN and everybody would tell you the Big Ten. I don't agree. I watched a lot of Big Ten games this year. You got Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue. Those are probably your 4 best teams. Maryland's kind of hovering around.
Maryland's hot right now.
They're okay, but I don't think of any of those 4 or 5 teams. I don't think there's one team that I can say is going to win the national championship.
I mean, the Big Ten, like I said, is tough. I mean, you got, I think, Michigan State up top, Michigan second after today, and then you got Wisconsin.
Purdue are both tied with 4 losses.
Third, 4, and then Maryland, I think, is up there as well. But if I had to pick one team who I think could make it far, I would have to go. I think I would pick Wisconsin. I mean, it's between Wisconsin and Michigan. I think are the 2 best teams. I just think their experience, like Michigan has that guy from Yale last year.
Those 2 teams, I think they're the best shooting teams in the Big Ten, and I think that matters. Like Michigan State won the game today and they hit a bunch of threes.
Yeah, but they're the worst.
They're like 343 in 3-point percentage. They're not winning the national championship.
And I like Wisconsin. I've watched quite a bit of their games.
Tanji,
I think they play
can
well.
Really shoot the
he's
ball.
a baller.
Yeah, he's good.
So I would go with either Wisconsin or Michigan. Either pick is fine with me. But if I had to pick a winner today, if they were to play, I would pick Wisconsin.
Okay. In the Big 12, I think the Big 12 is better than the Big 10. I think
so too.
I think like Houston, they're one of those teams when you watch them play, they look unbeatable or look like this is a national championship Final Four team for whatever the reason. When they get into the moment,
They remind me of Penn State.
well, last year like their point guard got hurt in the game.
They do.
Their starting point guard got hurt and he didn't even get to play, so they lost.
Yeah,
But they definitely could go on a run.
they could.
Iowa State, they kind of I don't love them, but they can shoot the ball. If Iowa State's when they get hot, TJ Otzelberger, they can really fill it up. They can really shoot. So in any game, they could get hot and win the game. Do I think they'll do it 6 times to win the NCAA tournament? No.
I don't know. Who I really like in the Big 12 and absolutely love is Texas Tech. I think they're the best team in the Big 12 right now.
You've been high on them pretty much the whole season, actually.
Yeah. I love Texas Tech is awesome. I think they have a great roster. I like Arizona too, but I like
Arizona's got talent. Yeah.
I like Arizona, but for me, I think Texas Tech is going to be the team in the tournament that'll turn it up the most, and I think make it the furthest.
Are they a Cinderella team for you, or do you have some other fun?
A Big 12 team
teams?
cannot be Cinderella.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them a Cinderella, but I would say, I mean, I don't think people would have them as far as maybe Houston or Arizona. But I think they may, or maybe even Iowa State. But I actually think they'll make it further than all those teams.
I'm actually wrong.
They kind of are a Cinderella.
If not record
not
wise,
necessarily,
but if Kansas State went on a run, because they're like 500, if they won the Big 12 tournament and made it, that would be a Cinderella team.
Of course,
because they're not technically a tournament team right now.
So who is a Cinderella team in your guys' opinion that could make a run this season?
Make noise. I really like McNeese State. No one talks about them. They're not highlighted at all. I think they're just dominating their conference.
So they're gonna upset someone.
I think they have a possibility. Akron is really good. Akron's been balling. Drake, I love Drake. Drake is good.
Drake's solid. Drake's a really good team. They're they're from Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa. It's a smaller school, but they, if you look at it the last couple of years, they win 20. It seems like they win 25 plus games a year.
Yeah, then they just
solid.
have a new coach this year, don't they? I believe the Drake coach left. But dude, Drake is really good.
It's a solid program.
Yeah, I think they can upset in the first round. I would probably even put them in the Sweet 16 possibly, depending on how the bracket looks.
At least one Drake might win this season or this year, right? So
what about the other Pitino, the son, Richard Pitino in Mexico?
Yeah,
they're in the Mountain West, but they're a 20 plus win team. They're very solid.
They can make a Sweet 16.
They beat UCLA in the non-conference this year, which was a nice win.
And it's hard to win in the pit. It's one of the toughest places in the country to play. I think I like their team. I like you said he's the son, Rick Pitino's son. I think
Dick.
I think what's up?
His name is Dick.
Dick, is it? But I think they have a good chance. I mean, obviously we don't know what the brackets look like, but it wouldn't surprise me if they made a Sweet 16.
Who do you like in the Big East? Because I know the Big East, UConn being down, I think hurts it a little bit. We said St. John's, but a team like Creighton, they always have shooters. If they're hot, you don't want to see them.
Shoemaker's been in the tournament 2 years already. He's experienced.
Villanova, their record's not fancy, but they beat St. John's recently.
Yeah, Villanova's turning it.
Villanova just beat Marquette. Marquette's ranked, but I don't.
They kind of remind me of Houston. They're like a Penn State of football. They make it all. They're always there, but they don't do it.
They never do it when it matters the most.
No. And I like Marquette. That's one of my favorite teams in college, but they just never.
Fernando, who would be your top 5 Catholic schools going into the tournament this year?
Oh my gosh, definitely Gonzaga, Marquette. I always root for.
Is this in order?
No, just your top 5.
I like St. John's.
There you go.
St. John's.
It's got a saint. It's probably
St. Mary's.
Exactly. I even though they are in the WCC, I kind of do root for St. Mary's, just not when they're playing Gonzaga.
Creighton's Catholic too.
I do like Creighton. I've always been a Creighton fan. Seton Hall, I'm not too big of a fan of, but I'll still root for them. I like Georgetown.
Villanova's obviously Catholic as well.
Yeah, Villanova. I always root for the Catholic schools. Notre Dame. I have a Notre Dame.
They're
jacket.
terrible this year.
I have a Notre Dame jacket.
Notre Dame's a really bad place in basketball.
So I mean, I just have a thing for. I don't know. I like the Catholic schools, dude. I always root for them.
And then, do you think any unrelated with Iowa State's injuries? Do you think that's going to affect them against Houston?
Oh yeah, I know tomorrow's a tip-off. I think Houston's going to kill Iowa State. Honestly, their top 2 scorers are. I don't want to say kill, but I think they could win by double digits.
We haven't really touched on it. I mean, if you're going to talk college basketball, as much as I dislike Duke, you still have to talk about it. Who in the ACC? I feel like the ACC is a little down this year.
Yeah.
North Carolina's
They
not
suck.
good.
I would say Clemson's probably the second best team, and they beat Duke already.
Who else is good in the ACC?
I mean, Florida State's kind of coming up. They're not really great though. There's really Miami.
I feel like the
sucks.
ACC
Miami's
They're
dead.
terrible.
Their coach quit.
Yeah, they suck, dude.
You have a legendary coach quit in the middle of the season. Like
That's insane.
that's a bad sign.
Yeah, I
would
feel like
honestly
the
say
ACC
it's just Duke and Clemson. That's
Which
really it.
North Carolina scoring though, they are a great scoring team. I know their defense is falling off a cliff this year, but
They're like 14 and 11.
they could score, and that could be scary playing against that. You know, in the tournament,
Yeah,
it could be
the
huge.
ACC tournament.
They're
Well,
not-
the
they're not gonna make it.
ACC tournament at least.
With name alone, it's possible they could be a lower seed.
They would have to win
They'd
the
have-
ACC.
They have to win their ACC.
or at least make the
Or make the
championship.
finals.
It
Yeah.
is possible.
I mean,
but,
It is.
The
They-
ACC.
they are
does
great
I
suck.
don't like their
That's all
guards.
I'm saying.
The problem I hit with North Carolina,
RJ Davis.
when I look
he's
at North-
overrated.
when I look at North Carolina, this is a school that's produced Jerry Stackhouse, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, some of the most athletic wings ever. They have two guys at their 1 and 2, a guy named Cadeau or
It's something
Cadeau,
like that.
and then RJ Davis. I look at them and I'm just, they're not, you're not going on a run with those guys. You're not winning a national championship. I think North Carolina needs to kind of step up their NIL money, which they have. They paid Bill Belichick, so they could clearly pay basketball players.
That's crazy that
They have to
he's
get
going
on
up.
that level, I think.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of a weird year in college basketball in the sense that it's like 3 conferences are going to kind of load up the whole tournament. And then I think you're going to see in some of those
I would even say 4 with the Big East.
Big East, but maybe they get 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is I think you're going to see a lot of upsets. I think like the Big Ten is going to put a lot of teams in, but I don't think they're going to go far.
Yeah, like
so it's
Oregon versus Drake. I think
Exactly.
Drake could crack them. You know
UCLA
what I mean?
plays a really
New Mexico versus UCLA. Like, yeah.
UCLA plays a very like slow game. If they lost to a lower level type school, it wouldn't shock me at all. They could totally be upset in the tournament.
Winning. So hyped up for these conference matchups. I want to see. I always look forward to Selection Sunday. Granted, we're still, like I said, about a month away.
Yeah.
But this is when things start heating up.
This is the
and
best time of the year
gearing
for
up.
basketball.
Yeah,
NBA and
100%.
college. We're getting closer to the playoffs. Obviously, you get the conference tournaments
It's
and the
also
NCAA
going to matter
tournament.
more.
Yeah, it's going to be a great part of the season here.
Are there any players that you guys think that could make a name for themselves this tournament, to either boost their draft potential or make a bigger impact?
There's
in the
always
future?
that in college basketball. You always have a team or a player. I'll give you one. Mo Wagner in 2018.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody before that year had him being a first round draft pick. He went nuts.
Yeah.
They won the Big Ten tournament. They made it all the way to the national championship. They ended up losing to an amazing Villanova team. But by the time he got done with it, he was a late first round pick to the Lakers. There's always a player that can
We
be.
could even go to as recent as last year. That guy from Oakland hit 10 threes against Kentucky. Geike, if it's not for that game, he's not in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think, what is
Or
he in the
G
G
League.
League
Yeah.
right now?
No,
He
you
was
can make a name
drafted,
for
you know
yourself.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or he might be like, I don't know, a lone guy somewhere.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's an
he literally
accountant
looked like an
or
average ass
like a
white
lawyer,
guy.
You know what I mean? Like you never know. But if it's not for these games, they can make a name for themselves. I think a couple of players from Florida who are a little bit under the radar can go up. I mean, I think the Zags have a couple of 2 NBA guys that can help their stock. But it could also hurt your stock. Like I think Dickinson keeps hurting his stock. Baycott, he hurt his stock.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it works both ways. But there's always some guy out of nowhere that's
Can
gonna,
Flag do anything to hurt his NBA
No.
potential?
No.
Get
Besides
hurt
get
short of
injured.
injury.
Yeah.
Short of, and even then, if he got injured, as long as it's not a blood clot, you'll still take him.
As long as, bro.
As long as it's not his lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's for sure a lock for.
I mean, I
number
think
one.
even if he blew his knee out, they would still take him.
Yeah, he just sits out a season,
Yeah.
and then
Who's the-
At furthest he drops a maybe 2. Like I could see Ace Bailey going 1, but
Who's the-
I still think he's the number 1 guy.
Who's like the next couple guys after him? Who's like slated to be number 2,
Edge
number 3
guys?
in the draft?
Ace Bailey, who I just said,
He's good.
He's gonna be 2. It's possible he'll go 3. Who?
draft pick
Edgecombe, yeah, he's projected to be a top 5 pick. He might have dropped a little bit because Baylor sucks, but
What about Broom? Is
he's
he
fine.
a top pick? No, right? He's a little bit older.
He's like a junior or
Yeah,
senior.
he's
Yeah.
old, yeah.
I mean, he'll get probably drafted at least second round,
Mhm.
but he's not a top
Caleb
5
Love.
pick
He's not a top.
Harper, he's great
for the Rutgers has two
Rutgers,
freshmen
yeah,
that are both high-profile guys.
yeah, he's great. So I think he's gonna
They're lottery
be a
type
top 7
picks.
pick. I really like Harper.
With Flag, do you think there's any amount of money that would get him to stay one more year?
And I saw something that said
Yeah,
he
I
might
saw
come
that.
back. He loves Duke, but they always say that crap. And then
Well, he said that because he doesn't know who won the lottery yet.
yeah,
So depending on which team wins the lottery,
I mean,
like it could be a
some
place
of
where he
these
doesn't wanna go.
schools, like they have the money. They could
the
pay the guy
$10
if Duke
million.
wanted to keep him, and he said, "Here's $10 million to stay for Duke for another year." Like, let's say, like, what would be the worst pick? What would be the worst team to go to for him? What would be like a
Hornets or Wizards?
Hornets or Wizards.
Yeah, see, if I'm him,
Hornets, I'm not against because you'll be playing with a point guard if he's healthy.
and you're not
I know
moving
ball,
far.
it's
Yeah.
still a dead zone of the NBA though. The
Yeah.
Hornets.
but I think Flag's that good where it's. I think he'll be fine. Him,
But, like, if he
Ball,
could-
and,
if
Him
you
and
went to
Ball would
him-
be
Miller,
kinda fun.
If
him,
you went to
Ball, and
Flag
Miller,
though and
it's
said,
amazing.
if you went to Flag and said like, you could be on the Spurs,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I think he's
Jumping
gone.
at it,
Yeah.
I think he's gone. Like, what's another potential lottery pick team this year, Bill?
Well, I don't think the Spurs are a lottery team.
Oh, they are.
Well, they are now.
They could
Well,
be
they actually
Wemby's
were
out.
even before Wemby got hurt. So
Who are the
like the Kings, like they could fall and be a lottery
that
and
would
somehow
be
buy.
terrible.
See, I don't
But
know. I don't know if Flag would want to
I'd
go.
rather
The
go
one
back
that it
to-
is, it's the cursed one. It's New Orleans. If
See, I
the
don't know if he wants to go
Pelicans
there either.
get the number one pick, you have to just stay. In
We
school.
very rarely see the worst team in the NBA get the number 1 pick, though. So I think he'll
Like,
be
if the
okay.
Bulls got the number 1 pick, is that possible?
It's possible.
Okay,
He's going there.
He's going to the Bulls. Like, he's going to go to Chicago.
The only
Yeah.
2 places if I were Flag, I wouldn't want to go. Or sorry, 3 is the Wizards.
New Orleans.
I would say Kings because Kings
Yeah,
could be
I
up
think
I
there.
wouldn't want to go to
and
Charlotte.
the Pelicans. I think
Or
those
Pelicans.
3 are the worst franchises to go to. Like the Nets suck, but at least you're in Brooklyn. Like New York has money, so I think he's fine there. But the
But
Kings,
if he goes to the Nets too, he always has the ability. A free agent could sign there. too.
exactly.
So
The Kings are a loser ass franchise. The Hornets, they're bad, but they have young guys there, so that's why I think it's okay to go to the
Like
Hornets.
Mark
Like the Melo
Williams
Ball
and
and
Miller.
Brandon Miller are good,
If Mark
Toronto's a
Williams
tough
could stay
bet,
healthy too.
but there's a lot of money to be had in Toronto. I wouldn't mind
I
going
don't
there.
think NBA guys like going to Toronto
Yeah.
though. Kawhi won a championship and said, "I'm good. I'll go to the Clippers, the worst organization
He was
in the
already
history
done,
of the
though.
NBA."
Yeah, I don't think there's,
I mean, it is
I don't think
telling.
there's no changing his mind, but we just saw Ingram re-sign there because they
Well,
offered
it's
him
because he
money.
got 120 million. Nobody else is gonna give him that.
So did Jimmy Butler with the Warriors, right?
So you say like you're gonna average maybe the number one pick's gonna get about 12 million a year. So he makes 4.5 mil this year reportedly in NIL. So you'd have to just bump that up to about 12 to even maybe 15 to get him to stay.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's a lot in
but
college.
That's a lot.
Even college, that's a lot.
But it's
Especially
not
for
impossible.
basketball, because basketball doesn't have the same NIL money as football.
When is it exactly you see when the picks are set for the NBA? Isn't it?
We do the lottery after like the first
It's
round.
in May,
First
right?
round of
Yeah,
playoffs. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
after
in-
the first round.
Yep, exactly.
When's the latest you could take your name out the draft?
They've moved that around a few times.
Yeah.
You can drop. You could keep your name in the draft and like basically drop out right before it now, right? Like after the combine.
Yeah. See, now you can go like because Michigan's had guys go to the NBA like workout.
And then come
And
back.
then pull out.
They don't get like the scouts will say you're a second
You're
round
not
pick.
good.
So
So then
they
they'll
come
come
back.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but Flag isn't dealing with that. He doesn't have to go to
He doesn't
He doesn't have to go to
Yeah.
the combine.
Yeah. It's just really if it comes down to could Duke pay him 10 to 15
yeah,
million
Peacock,
to
I'm
keep
sure
him.
they could if they really wanted.
I mean, they're
to.
halfway
Is-
there right now, essentially. So
I don't think they have to get to 12. I just think it's got to be 10.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to
I
be
think
double.
so,
Yeah.
too.
I think 10's because if he just takes 10 million and comes back to Duke, you're looking at a Final Four team.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
Would you
So-
risk
I
that
think they
for
are this
injury
year.
though? Because again, we just said the only way he drops in stock is if he gets hurt. So
But I
if he
think
stays
he
one
would
more year
still
in
be
Duke,
a number one pick.
even with like a knee injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
They'll do what they
he
did with
he does
Chet.
he does try to he plays hard. He tries to
plays very
dunk
hard.
everything. I mean, would it shock me if he got hurt? But has he ever been hurt in his high school career? I don't really remember
I
ever
don't recall
Flag
either.
being hurt for anything like that. So
No,
to
just
me,
cramps.
he's one of those guys. If he shows up, he's going to give you everything he has. I mean, I think he's going to go pro.
He
The
yeah.
NBA money
90% of the
is
time
just-
he will.
Spurs
It's
could
just
jump up
different.
in the lottery because they got the Hawks picks. And
So
got
they have
their
the
own
Hawks and
picks.
their own
Yeah,
picks, so
so,
They have two
um,
chances essentially.
so
And next year's
that
draft
would be crazy. Wemby and
The year
Flag
after is
on the
good,
same
too.
team.
Insane.
is next year's
Castle-
draft a better draft because that
Right.
might be a reason to come out now too.
Castle
No,
too, bro.
this year is supposed to be the best draft.
Yeah,
in
but the next year's
last-
one's good. The BYU kid's gonna be
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the next phenom.
I'm
BYU's
shocked he
another
picked
team.
BYU.
BYU's another. They paid him.
In the Big
BYU's
12.
another team from the Big 12. They just smoked Kansas
I
again.
don't think Kansas is very good.
No, but it's one of the biggest losses in their history.
Yeah, they beat them by like almost
You know, when
40.
Kansas loses by like 30, you got to look
You
at
have to
that.
open
They don't
your
lose
eyes, yeah.
games like that very
Eli,
often.
he's
So
good, dude. They got shooters.
Yep.
yeah,
I wouldn't count them out either.
The only thing with Flag staying, it would really hinder if he wants to be an all-time great in the NBA.
yeah, I don't
Because
see
you
that
want to be on the
happening.
next level faster. Because you want to get better faster.
He's already practicing with the Olympic team.
USA,
He's going
yeah.
to the NBA.
Yeah.
Stop it.
But the
It's
Pelicans
not-
win
it's not
the
happening.
lottery.
If the Pelicans win,
I mean, I
lottery,
agree,
you go.
but even then, I still
There's some
think
water down there that you don't
because
trust.
if he goes, do you pair him with Zion then at that point? They're both Duke players.
What
No,
are they gonna,
I mean, Zion looked good
Zion
today,
won't
but you
play.
can't.
I mean, they
guarantee
might.
this guy's
I could
gonna
see that
play a
maybe
game.
like, oh, you went to Duke too, and I'll play with you. I don't. Maybe
I don't know. I don't know if they're cool like that. Like, is Zion mess with like all the Dukies? Like, I know Flag's really close with Tatum, Grant Hill. Like, that's like a brotherhood. I've never seen Zion be a part of that.
Does Zion even talk to RJ Barrett, his teammate?
I think Zion's just worried about what fast food place he's gonna go after the game.
Is the drive-through open?
He's worried about the porn stars.
Yeah, the
He's,
porn
you know,
stars.
yeah, it's crazy. But I guess to just finish this off, let's give our final picks for tournament. I mean, just winning it all. I hate giving just number one picks, but I'm just gonna take Auburn. They have looked like the clear-cut favorite. Them losing to Florida is huge, but I'm just gonna pick Auburn. I'm riding on the Charles Barkley train.
If
John,
I had to
if you
pick
wanna give four.
a champion and Final Four.
I won't give a champion. I'll just give my final four. I would go Michigan, Florida, St. John's, and Auburn.
Okay, Billy.
I'm gonna go Florida, St. John's, Auburn, but I am not putting Michigan in there. I love Michigan. I just think the team stinks and they overachieve. None of their wins are impressive. I'll throw like a Marquette in there. Let's throw an oddball in there.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I
Fair.
like that. I'm definitely gonna go Florida, Auburn. I'm gonna go Duke, and I'm gonna go Texas Tech. Final Four.
Nice. All right. Well, those are our picks. We're the Club Rats. I'm Jesiah.
This is John.
Billy.
Fernando.
Remember to like, subscribe, comment. See you guys next week. Peace.
Take care.